Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to check out the Sportiva Nucleo 2 Gore-Tex hiking boot. The Nucleo has been a favorite amongst backpackers and day hikers for a long time. This is the newest version and it is no different. The updated version of the Nucleo boots have the same top-notch performance as its predecessor, but with a few key updates, and we will get to those here in a little bit. If you're new to the channel, my name's Ben, and I'm part of the team here at the Adventure Junkies, where we help people like you choose the right gear to get outdoors. If you want to learn more, definitely visit our website at theadventurejunkies.com. Now let's jump right into it. Let's talk about the Nucleo 2 Gore-Tex boot for men. So the version that we tested here retails for $229. That's a little bit on the high side compared to other boots that we've tested this season, but not that much higher. We've seen the price of footwear go up this season. So this is a premium hiking boot for sure. They're available in standard sizes, albeit European sizes 38 through 47.5. Now, La Sportiva, being a European brand, only uses European sizes. That's roughly US sizes 6 through 13.5. And thankfully, there are some wide sizes available. They're only available in one color combination this year, and that's carbon/chili. So in terms of weight, the Nucleo 2 is lighter than many of the burly, built-up backpacking and hiking boots that we've tested this summer. For those interested, my size 13s weigh 622 grams per shoe, and that's gonna be 1 pound 6 ounces per shoe. Again, that's size 13. Now look, I know that that is hard to quantify for many people. What does 1 pound 6 ounces feel like on your foot? To me, not much. I actually found these to feel quite light underfoot, and I really appreciate that about these boots. So with a boot with Gore-Tex in the name, you expect them to be fully waterproof. These are fully waterproof. They use a Gore-Tex waterproof membrane to keep your feet dry, as well as allow a little airflow. The upper is also constructed primarily of nubuck leather. That's going to help with waterproofing as well. So like I mentioned, the upper is constructed with a plush nubuck leather. Now, La Sportiva uses traditional stitching on some portions of this boot, actually, but then they do use a more modern welding technique here and around the toe cap. So the stitching definitely going to help with this synthetic material meeting the leather and durability, and then the welding here is how they keep the boot lightweight. So one thing I noticed about this boot is the welded toe cap. It's pretty low profile, but it actually provides a surprising amount of protection. We've got a pretty standard compression molded EVA midsole that offers a generous amount of cushion, actually more cushion than I remember in the original Nucleo. I don't know if that's just me misremembering, but I was surprised how cushy these actually are. Now for the outsole here, we've got Vibram Nano XS Trek rubber. It's a compound that's thick but flexible. Just a real quick note, if you're finding this video at all helpful, please make sure to like and share it so more hikers like you can find it. So now that we've run through the basic construction of the boot, let's get into what you're probably really here for. Let's talk about the performance. Okay, so I just covered the sole, the outsole of this boot, and I mentioned that they use Vibram Nano XS Trek rubber. So let's talk about the traction. La Sportiva is known around the globe for their rock climbing shoes. They know a thing or two about traction, trust me. I've owned many La Sportiva shoes, and I'm always impressed with how grippy they actually are. And the Nucleo holds up its end of the bargain here. I found it to be super grippy across a wide range of terrain. Mountain terrain, wet granite, wet sandstone, wet mud, dry, loose, really across the board. I really appreciate the grippiness of this sole. One thing that I do want to note on this outsole, and it's probably hard to see, but they have this braking system, well that's what they call it, on the heel here, and that really just helps with traction going downhill, especially across loose terrain. So I did get the Nucleo out in some spring showers, I walked through some snowfields, and the Gore-Tex held up really well. They use this Gore-Tex Surround technology, which is just another Gore-Tex product to help with waterproofness. I had no leaking at all. If you do some research into these boots, you'll find that the Gore-Tex Surround technology tends to work really well for consumers. People really like it. It helps airflow underfoot. Yeah, overall, really great waterproofness here. So the Nucleo 2 aren't nearly as beefy as a lot of the boots that we've tested this season. They're a little lighter duty, a little more flexy than say the Salomon Quest 4, which is definitely a built-up backpacking boot. I can feel the ground a little bit when I'm walking, and I find that actually helps me with stability. I prefer a little flex in my sole and a little ground feel. It's all personal preference. The plush nubuck leather upper doesn't offer a ton in the way of stiffness, so you can see, pretty flexy, but also pretty durable. So because the Nucleo 2 is softer and it is more flexy, on the more flexy side of things, I do think stability suffers a little bit. However, I did find these stable enough to backpack with. I've gone backpacking with its predecessor, the Nucleo 1, without any issues. I tested these for 50 miles with a 20-pound pack, and I think it held up pretty well. Despite having a narrower footprint here and a softer upper, I think there's plenty of lateral support, you know, that side-to-side movement. Say you're walking on a hill where one foot's higher than the other. I really appreciate the lateral support. The softer upper is comfortable. I did find the support around the ankle to suffer a little bit because it is so soft and flexy. Not enough that I found it to be an issue, but just a little more squish around the ankle than other options out there. So if you're someone who likes the really tight, strong ankle support, you know, this might not be the boot for you, but I didn't find it to be a big issue. So the upper, I keep mentioning the upper, but it's pretty thin. It doesn't offer a ton of cushion, and that includes the tongue. The tongue is also pretty thin and doesn't offer a lot of cushion. I didn't have any issues on my testing, but I'd imagine if you were doing a few days in a row of 10 plus miles with the pack, the thinness and lack of cushion in the upper, you're probably going to notice that in your feet. The midsole does offer a generous amount of cushion, actually, which is nice. It will definitely help when you're backpacking. But yeah, just a little thin in the upper. So the tongue doesn't have a ton of cushion either, but despite the lack of padding, it stays in place, and the gusset works really well at keeping out debris. So I do want to talk about the fit of this boot for a little bit. Now, take my fit assessment with a grain of salt. Definitely try them on. What works for me isn't going to work for you. What works for you might not work for me. I have a wide foot, but I found the size 13s to be pretty true to size. The thing about La Sportiva footwear is that they are narrow. This is going to be more narrow than almost every boot that we've tested this season. They are available in wide sizes, but even that wide size is going to be more narrow than maybe the wide sizes that you're traditionally used to. So definitely keep that in mind. This boot is too narrow for me. I'm going to be honest, I just find it too narrow for my foot, which is a bummer because I really like this boot. Basically, the heel is fine for me, but everything from the arch up through the forefoot is just too narrow. Definitely a narrow toe box, and whether you like a wide toe box or a narrow toe box, that's a personal preference. Narrow toe box is going to lock your foot in place really good on the descent, no slipping and sliding. A wider toe box allows your toes to spread out and can aid with stability. I prefer a wide toe box. This is a narrow toe box, so just a little too narrow for me. How easy is it to lace them? The lacing is about the same as every other boot out there. You start with a nubuck leather eyelet and then transitions to metal eyelets and then 2 metal lace hooks at the top. You don't have any extra holes or lace hooks, so you might be limited on custom lacing techniques. Also, the lace, getting it into these top 2 lace hooks is a little harder than on some other models, but really not that big a deal. Overall, I think these are one of the more comfortable boots on the market this year, despite them not really working for my personal foot shape. Comfort plays into fit and foot shape and personal preference, but what I'm personally looking at in backpacking boots, I think these check most of the boxes. So just to kind of wrap things up, guys, so the question is, who are these boots for? These boots are going to be a great pair of waterproof, medium to light duty hiking boots that are going to be great for day hikers, people putting in a lot of miles, but maybe not necessarily carrying a lot of weight. I do think that these are going to be good for people who are doing light backpacking. If I was doing the JMT and I was out for a few weeks, I might want something with a little more support, but light duty backpacking, heavy duty day hiking, these are going to be good for most hikers so long as they fit your foot. So what do I really like about them? I think that they're really comfortable. I think they're made of high quality materials. They're well built. The grip is top notch and they are super waterproof. The Gore-Tex surround technology really works, and they're more breathable than many waterproof boots on the market these days. So those all are things that I really like about this boot. What do I not like? I've mentioned it, but my main complaint is just the fit. They don't work for me. They're too narrow. They're going to be too narrow for a lot of hikers out there. You're really going to want to try them on. Again, they do come in wide sizes, but that wide is going to be a little more narrow than other wide sizes out there. So, try them on, see if they're right for you. Otherwise, great hiking boots. If you like this review, please make sure to like and share it. And if you have a pair of Nucleo 2s and you think I got something wrong, or maybe you think we got something right, let us know in the comments. It helps other hikers like you. It helps us. We love the feedback. Lastly, if you want to buy a pair of Nucleo 2s, we've added a link in the description below to purchase them. It's an affiliate link, so we do get a small commission for every sale, but it doesn't cost you anything, and it definitely helps the channel. All right, guys, that's it. If you enjoyed this review, you're definitely going to want to check out these reviews as well. That's it. We'll see you next time. Happy hiking.